Are you still favoring Crawford in the fight, or has your opinion changed?
I mean, I've always favoured Canelo in the fight.
Well, I've heard that you want Canelo to win, but you
of
feel
course, yeah. I like Terence. I've worked a lot with Canelo, and I think just because of what I saw in Riyadh and because of the threat, and he's getting on as well, Crawford, but it's just like the mindset of Crawford. Like, there's no doubt in Terence Crawford's mind that he wins this fight. And when you spend a bit of time with him, you kind of start buying into that. And I guess that's what happened in Riyadh, because I've travelled with him to the fight. And, you know, like, it's a 50-50 fight. I think gun to head, I'm probably picking Crawford right now. But I want Canelo to win. And he can win for sure. But Terence is going to make it really tricky and awkward for him. I don't think he's going to like that kind of fight.
Good fight. You know, if 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique, because 50-50. If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think. If knockout, it's Canelo.
What makes Crawford so difficult to fight against?
Terence Crawford has sculpted his body into a hideous creature. In anticipation of the legendary boxing trainer turned analyst Teddy Atlas has shared his thoughts on the possible mega fight between the two stars with Fight Hub TV, saying that he would find it difficult to take on the American Southpaw because so few people have the desire or inclination to challenge themselves. Mr. Crawford does, and I'm never going up against that guy. Canelo Álvarez fight and boxing professionals can't. Just keep quiet. Father, I'm not sure if a weight class can catch him, but time might.
Who's getting better? He's improved recently. I think he still needs more seasoning, but I see an improvement in him. He is a talented.
It's a huge task because Canelo is a great fighter who is bigger and stronger than you. He can time you and punch you, but Crawford will devise a strategy that will force the other man to use his size.
Canelo Álvarez thinks you're not a 54 pounder. In other words, you say, nah, he's too small.
That's his take. There's a reason why Israel was so respectful in the fight. Anytime I let my hands go, he would grab me or move. For the bigger guy, you should have been walking me down. You should have been bullying me. Canelo can say what he say.
He just doesn't feel like you're a 54 pounder. He believes that.
The odds are stacked against Terence Crawford going into his scheduled September super middleweight super fight against Canelo Álvarez. And that's exactly how he wants it. Given the situation, Crawford will have to overcome a significant strength disadvantage when he faces the Mexican superstar, as is the case when a future Hall of Fame fighter must move up to weight classes to take on a fellow all-time great. And for division champion in Álvarez, Crawford is being tagged as the betting underdog for the first time in his 17-year professional career. However, just glancing at the tail of the tape, although Crawford is 37 years old and 3 years older than Álvarez, he also seems to be in good physical condition. Having fought 25 fewer fights and 263 fewer rounds than Álvarez, the 5'8" Bud will have a half-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. All I have to do is beat him. I don't have to go in there and look to knock Canelo out. Is that possible? Crawford told The Ring in a lengthy and exclusive interview that when I look at Canelo, he's a bigger and smaller guy moving up in divisions because these big guys are slower. They might catch him with something, but he might see it at the last second. They might catch him with a hard shot, but he can roll and turn with it because he comes from a smaller weight class. That was faster and sharper in response to a question about his current weight. Crawford recently shared a picture of a scale that indicated he weighed 186 pounds. Crawford laughed heartily and remarked, 140 pounds.
So every time I see him, he'll come and be like, Canelo.
You know, yeah, you know how Billy do it too,
yeah. I'll be like, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
So every time he say that, you know, I just be like gradually getting into like looking at it, like okay. And he like, he's not that big. You know, he heavy, but he not that big.
Right.
You know, and I'm just like, all right. And I'm laughing, but at the same time,
After earning a lightweight title in 2008, Crawford began his career weighing 137 pounds. He went on to become the undisputed champion at 140 and 147 pounds. And after defeating Israel Madrimov last summer, he now holds the 154-pound title held by the World Boxing Association. Alvarez began his career as a 15-year-old 139-pound fighter in 2005 and has since won titles at 154, 160, 168, and 175 pounds. If he defeats William Skull on May 3rd in Saudi Arabia, he would have been a two-time undisputed super middleweight champion. If he gets hit with a sharp punch he doesn't see, he's definitely capable of getting hurt, added Crawford.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
He is a human being, just like me, and not a machine. He bleeds just as much as I do, so I won't go in there believing that I can't harm him. However, I'm fighting my battle and not rushing in there to knock him out at the same time. If the knockout comes and it's there, I'll take it, of course. Canelo has only lost twice in his career, to Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol. He faced Money Mayweather in 2013 as a young, up-and-coming fighter. And many people think that Terence Crawford and Mayweather have similar fighting styles. So defeating Crawford could demonstrate that Canelo has changed significantly as a fighter.
I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter. And I always say that, no disrespect him. But, you know, sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he is big, and everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford.
When questioned about the impending Canelo versus Crawford bout in an interview with Buey, former world champion Barry McQuiggan expressed his thoughts without holding back. I believe Crawford needs to return to his prior level of timing and hitting strength.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
He's an old-school fighter in the vein of Sugar Ray Robinson. He makes you miss for a second before counterattacking. But in order to deprive Canelo of his power right away, he will need to move quickly in and out of the striking zone and avoid staying in one spot for too long. Nevertheless, Barry McQuiggan acknowledged that Crawford will need to be clever in his fight and not make a skull. He takes pride in trading punches with you, but he won't do that with Canelo early on. Instead, he will need to be as evasive and elusive as possible backouts. He would otherwise be dragged into a trench conflict that wouldn't be very effective.
Canelo's now 10-0 at super middleweight, but largely untouchable at this weight class. Why do you believe that you're the man to knock him off?
I'm the best. That's why. That's why everybody gonna come and watch September 12th.
All right, Buck, good luck on September 12th.
Thank you.
Barry reportedly said, when you see Canelo fading, put the gas on and trade punches with him. But Canelo will know what to do. Tim Bradley used his soapbox to pressure Canelo Álvarez to give Terence Crawford the duel he has been demanding. Crawford, 37, is eager for the fight, but hasn't been able to get it because he doesn't want to work hard to defeat the top dogs at 168 and 175. Canelo, the unified super middleweight champion, is urged by Bradley not to back down from a fight with Crawford because he stands to lose nothing. It is disrespectful for Crawford to get the golden parachute that will allow him to retire gracefully and live lavishly in a huge Beverly Hills mansion in his prime.
Disrespectful for Crawford to call you out at 68, say that he can beat you at this weight?
No, you know, everybody wants to fight with me, so it's fine.
That being a biggest fight possible in boxing, is that something you'd actually be interested in?
You know, it's crazy when you asking about that because you say, your matchup is coming out of the other weight classes and that's it, and he's welterweight, so don't make sense. But if the fight made sense, why not?
A lot of people have him at number one.
And
you can see the same tendencies that Canelo has now, but he's a lot older now. But I just think that Terence has more skills than Lara, and I think he can do more. And you're saying that, oh, Canelo...
By looking terrible in his most recent fight. On August 3rd against 154-pound champion Israel Madrimov, Crawford demonstrated that he had reached the limit of his ability to move up the divisions. Terence looked elderly during that fight and had been chewing Madrimov's right hands all night after that performance. Why would Canelo want to face Don't flee from this? Crawford Canelo. You already fled from the Benvitz fight, and you don't give a damn about what people think of you, because you didn't take the fight. Tim Bradley stated on his YouTube channel, "You're walking about Mexico, and you obviously don't care what the battle with Crawford is one that everyone wants to see you take, and it will offer Crawford the chance to prove his brilliance to you and the world. People assume you're not taking that fight, so do it."
Was a super strong guy. Man, technique, you already know. If you ever wrestled before, the person that got better technique usually win. It don't matter how much the weight they have or what they're carrying around. It's the technique. Crawford knows how to take care of himself on the inside.
Everyone is talking about the weight, but he's going to knock him out. When was the last time Canelo knocked someone out? You can stop talking about that. Canelo is 5 feet 8 and has the same height as Crawford. He started out weighing 147 pounds. But he's not a natural 168-pounder, and Bradley is taller than Crawford. Terence, 37, who is considerably bigger, stronger, and more skillful than Canelo, upset Israel Madrimov by a slim margin in his August debut at 154. Fans properly think that the Nebraska native is too young and frail to gain 14 pounds to 168 and challenge Canelo for his unified crowns. The opinion of Timothy Bradley is not often recognized by boxing fans, which has led to criticism against him and other professionals who support Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford is the most violent force in boxing, and I don't think he's big enough to match with Canelo Álvarez, but I think he'd love to have a chance to prove it. Terence Crawford has gotten a lot of credit for what he's done, and he deserves it. The performance against Spence was spectacular. You know, I told everybody Terence Crawford's pound for pound #1. Most journalists and writers in the sport have ranked Terence Crawford pound for pound #1. 2 days ago, I said to
numerous experts have already offered their predictions on how the competition will proceed, and renowned pundit Jim Lampley has now expressed his thoughts in an interview with Chris Manx. Alvarez continued to gushing about Canelo's counterpunching, strength and shot-absorbing skills when Lampley highlighted how he had matured since losing to Mayweather. When questioned if that included the Crawford bouts, Lampley said he thinks so, but also gave Bud a lot of praise. Lampley had nothing but appreciation for the Mexican's accomplishments and thinks he will lose another fight till he quits.
Canelo Álvarez, how do you feel about not being pound for pound #1 anymore? He looked at me with a blank expression and said, "What are you talking about? I'm still pound for pound #1. There's a 21-pound weight gap there. Terence Crawford's a 147-pound fighter. I'm sure he'd go as high as 160. Can he get Canelo Álvarez to come down from 68 to 60 to fight him? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure that Canelo would give him.
I like him against Bud Crawford, but I think it's a great fight. However, as we get closer, I might change my mind. But Crawford is a modern-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He can attack or defend, and he has a deep-seated mean streak that he can use at any time to gain what he wants. Lampley also praised Crawford's outstanding performance against Errol Spence Jr., asserting that Bud is superior to everyone else. He also said that Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford are the 2 finest fighters of this generation, making their bout a spectacle.
He's smart, he knows what he's doing. Canelo, you know, I mean, he's not that big of a guy. He obviously weighs more, but I mean, you can't take nothing from Crawford. He goes in there to win. So I mean, I feel like it'd be a good fight. You know, it sucks that my brother didn't get the opportunity, but I mean, only Canelo knows why it happened, and he's got to keep moving forward. You know, got to keep moving forward. But it's gonna be a good fight to watch. I got Crawford on this one. Even with him, he hit.
I like him against Bud Crawford, but I think it's a great fight. However, as we get closer, I might change my mind. Bud Crawford is a modern-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He can attack or defend, and he has a deep-seated mean streak that he can use at any time to gain what he wants. Lampley also praised Crawford's outstanding performance against Errol Spence Jr., asserting that Bud is superior to everyone else. He also said that Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford are the 2 finest fighters of this generation, making their bout a spectacle. But Jose Ventas seemed to have more justification for his forecast. He recalled how his younger brother was prevented from showing off his abilities since he was never given the chance to fight Canelo.
He adjusts, he not only does he switch from, from southpaw to orthodox, but he's just a smart, he has a high IQ in boxing, and that's what I feel like all these fighters that go in there to fight Canelo, they already go in there scared is what I believe, that which already beats him, so Crawford's gonna go in there to fuck.
When asked how the fight would go during a press conference for the David Morrell versus David Benvitz bout, Jose Benvitz didn't hold back and boldly declared, "I mean, like I said, Crawford's a freaking beast. He's smart. He knows what he's doing." In an interview with Fight Hub TV, he added, "Canelo, he's not that big of a guy. Obviously, he weighs more. But I mean, you can't take anything from Crawford. He goes in there and wins, acknowledging that size alone does not determine the outcome of a fight, even though Canelo is the naturally bigger fighter."
Canelo versus Cole?
Canelo did what he had to do to get the victory.
What do you want next? It seems like that's going to be the fight. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Álvarez, the biggest fight in boxing.
Well, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's the best fighter for Terence Crawford out there. He's the biggest fight for Terence Crawford out there, so that's why Terence Crawford want to take the opportunity to share a ring with another great.
How do you beat him?
You'll see. Come 12.
When asked how the fight would go during a press conference for the David Morrell versus David Benvitz bout, Jose Benvitz didn't hold back and boldly declared, "I mean, like I said, Crawford's a freaking beast. He's smart. He knows what he's doing." In an interview with Fight Hub TV, he added, "Canelo, he's not that big of a guy. Obviously, he weighs more. But I mean, you can't take anything from Crawford. He goes in there and wins, acknowledging that size alone does not determine the outcome of a fight, even though Canelo is the naturally bigger fighter."
Everyone's talking about the weight differences. What's your kind of response to that, Terence?
That's why we fight the fight. So September 12th, we all going to see if the weight going to make a difference or not.
Do you want to fight him twice and then retire? Is that kind of the ideal thing?
One fight at a time. One fight at a time.
What did you make of, I know you didn't say much on tonight, the effectiveness of Williams School? He came to go to decision as opposed to win the fight.
The problem with him is that, he's just a clever fighter, according to Benvitz. He also emphasized Crawford's versatility in switching between southpaw and orthodox stances, which makes him unpredictable and dangerous. He also added that many fighters who face the Mexican champion appear intimidated before the fight even starts, but he thinks Crawford won't have that mindset. So Crawford is going there to win, not to freaking lose, as he predicted, despite Crawford only having faced Canelo once at super welterweight and having to move up the divisions for the fight. He is confident he has the skills to become just the third man to defeat Canelo in 66 fights.
This fight with Terence Crawford, based off his last performance with the Cuban Williams School, how do you think things are going to play out for Canelo come September 13 against Terence Crawford?
I think Canelo is the favorite in this fight. It's still a big than Crawford. And I don't know, Crawford, how is Crawford now? It's my age, 39, and his last performance don't look good. So I pick Canelo in the...
Yeah, any advice you can?
The Mexican has been as high as light heavyweight twice, most recently losing by points to Dmitry Bivol. But his first attempt was a stoppage victory over Sergey Kovalev, who gave Canelo a world title in a fourth weight class and demonstrated his power in chin to be at the top level. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Kovalev stated that Crawford has the skill set to defeat his former opponent, but that the 14 pounds of extra weight, should he choose to enter at the 168-pound limit, will be the decisive factor. "I think he's the best pound-for-pound fighter, but I'm not sure how he'll feel at ease in his division. But if he advances, he could defeat Canelo."
Canelo, Crawford, what do you think and how is sparring with these guys?
Anytime you spar with an elite level guy, you learn something from them and you gain experience. I've been in the ring with Canelo Álvarez, as you said. I've been in the ring with Lanny Laura, I've been in the ring with Triple G, I've been in the ring with Adrian Broner, I've been in the ring with Daniel Jacobs, I've been in the ring with Caleb Plant and Julian Wood.
Which division will they be fighting in? Middleweight, it's not good for Crawford. But I know and I see that he can win because he will be slower since he will be bigger for a fight. Every fighter should be shedding weight for speed and lightness of movement. Although Crawford is incredibly intelligent, no one can predict how he would feel competing at super middleweight. Canelo will keep his hands up and walk him down. It's uncomfortable. I fought at 200 pounds and I wasn't light or heavy, rather, I was slow. I believe Crawford will be the same when he goes heavier, and if he's in form, he'll defeat Canelo. Corona Davis is knowledgeable Pank about fight fervor. Davis stated, preparation is going to definitely be everything, referring to the combatant's history of sparring both superstars, and the fact that Crawford is also his selection. Crawford is getting used to the 168-pound division. I am aware that he has been sitting at a heavier weight for some time. He has been displaying his training and other things. That's all for now. For the best news, events, and happenings in the boxing world, follow us on YouTube and remember to enable notifications so that you are informed when we post high-quality content like this. Until the next time, peace.